think it's time to upgrade the oil filtration system on this old Triumph. Traditionally they have a strainer filter in the bottom of the oil tank. I'll stick a picture up so you can see. They do get a bit claggy after a while, but they do clean out all the big elements, but the finer particles just tend to circulate around the system and collect. Now there is a modification you get where you can swap out the strainer sump for one with a paper cartridge filter in, which is nice and I like it, but I've decided to go with this external cartridge filter setup, which is a Norton one, and I'm hoping to install it in here. It's a bit tight and a bit fiddly at the minute, but somewhere around there. And I've come up with a rough design, a bit of cardboard template. It's going to sit in there like that, using that screw, which is nice and loose, and that screw there. Now one thing I will have to do is swap out that grease nipple for one with a right angle on, so I can actually get in to grease it. I've done some measuring up. The gap between this bolt and this bolt here is 75mm, which I don't think is right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this piece up, do this hole and this bend on this bracket here, but leave that one, and then when I put it in and mount it on there, I'll put a transfer punch through and actually mark the hole on there where it's going to go, so we're exact. It isn't going to be perfect because there's a bit of a ridge on the back of that, so I'm going to have to make a spacer up to sit so everything sits out nice and flat.
15 minutes later.
So there's my template made. I've marked a couple of holes in it already, which I'll drill next. We'll then bend that bit and bend that bit over, and then I can mark in that final hole for mounting there so I know it's accurate. Just put a little bit of shape in, nothing special, just to sort of smooth the edges out a bit. Right, I do like this little vice bender thing, but it's just the wrong size for my vice, which is annoying. Because it does that. Give me that to rest on there a bit, that's a bit better. More. Properly. Oh, gone a bit over on that. Get the hammer out. Probably should have just done that in the first place. It'd been easier, wouldn't it? That was a bit easier. So I'm going to bend that way. A little flattish, not quite. Better. Right, let's get that next hole marked up. Right, so run that up and down an arc.
1 minute later.
So that's a bracket made, and I need to make a 10mm spacer up to go in there. Give me a minute.
5 minutes later.
Right, so that's everything dry fitted. A little stainless washer to go up in there. It's only finger tight in there at the minute, but I think you get the drift. So in and out, I think. And can I get the cartridge on, which is the important bit. Bit fiddly. that's going on. So that position there will do me. I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. So next job, I'm going to get it off. I'm going to get the bracket painted up, and then we'll get the oil hoses fitted. So it's had a sand down, took all the edges off it. All I'm going to do now, quick degrease, because it's galvanised, I'm going to have to stick an extra primer on that, then primer, a bit of black, bit of clear. I won't bore you with that, and we shall see you in a bit.
The next day.
So that's a bracket with a couple of coats of paint on. I've also made that nut head a bit smaller, because you can probably see there, I'm going to struggle to get something up to tighten that nut up, so hopefully I can get in. If not, I'm going to have to come up with a plan, so I'll get that fitted. Right, I've just got to try and replace the grease nipple for a 45-degree one. Just like that, so I'm getting a bit easier, but that piece is too long, way too long, so I'm going to try and source some shorter ones. It needs to be about half that length where the end of my pointer is, so it can actually fit in and not rub against the bush, so that will be done at a later date. Burning question is, can I get to grease that nipple? It appears I can. Even though my grease gun isn't pumping very well, it probably needs filling up, but yeah, at least I can get on, so I don't need to swap that nipple over. So next job is to move the oil pipe from the return, the oil tank, and put it onto the inlet side of the filter housing. Now how easy is this going to come off? Some people will ask why I put it on this side. Well, one is the pressurised system side, which is a bit easier. Oh, there we go. There we go. And filtration like this, to be honest, it doesn't matter which side it goes on. With it being pressurised, it'll just force it through the filter a bit better. But flow-wise, we should be okay anyway. Fingers crossed. So it comes from the pump to the inlet side, which is the bottom one on here. I reckon if we chop it about there, so I'm shaking you around all over the place. We're quite restricted for room in here. Oh, there's drip oil everywhere. What I'm going to do is, give me a sec, I'm going to put a cable tie around the hose. Why are you doing that? Well, it stops the Jubilee clip from disappearing down the bottom end of the hose, doesn't it? And I want it to go on that way up. Now these hoses are slightly different size to the actual spigots on here, so I'm going to struggle to get this on. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to move you out of the way and I'll get that on.
A few minutes later.
Right, so I've put new hoses on because the originals are a bit old and brittle and just weren't going on, so that made it a bit easier. I haven't connected the top one at the moment because what we're going to do now, spark plugs are out, and I'm going to pump it till we get oil coming out of that little hole there, just so I know it's priming. And there we go. Right, we'll get the canister on now. So, a bit of oil on there. That just stops the rubber seal from sticking to the housing. So we're about there, and now we're going to do the same again for the top hose.
3 hours later.
I gave in trying to bleed it to the top because it was just taking ages. I've just checked my oil level, I've just topped it up a little bit. I'm going to get it fired up and then we'll see if the oil's circulating and check for leaks. Right, as you can see I've got an oil stream coming through the return. Not very good, but you can see it. Stick over now. There you go, it's just cut out. I need to adjust the carbs a little bit. As you can see, oil was streaming back through. So I'd say that's quite successful. Have a look underneath. New bit of cardboard, no oil leaks so far. So I'll let that settle a bit and recheck my oil level. So there we go, that's my oil filter mod done. To be fair, for me personally, I don't think it looks too far out of place. Extra little bit of filtration on the system, can't do any bad, can it? Hope this has helped. Thanks for watching.